The energy waves for June are phenomenal. However, what we do with them might well be an issue. So I'm sharing with you here the content I gave to This Vital Life, our community, because I think this is a really important month for you and for your future. I hope you find it helpful. Below the video, you'll find links to the various things I talk about, or I'll put them at the end of the video. Who knows? Enjoy. Welcome to the energy waves for June. So we've got kind of three main themes, different kind of things going on, and I'll talk about some advice around that. We'll look at the kind of energies that are sitting behind that. So the first thing to appreciate is that we are still, having not changed, we're still in a kind of wood energy year, a wood snake year, where the kind of second month into the kind of fire energy. So this is the kind of the real kind of fire energy starting to really build up. And then obviously we're in a metal energy block of time. So the very nature, if you think about it, if you have wood from that wood year, and then you really start heating it up and you start setting it on fire, and we've had a lot of wood energy this year, inherently what you're going to start to do is you're just going to start to get an expansion of things. Now, the phase that we're in is expansion around revolution and change and things being different, looking at what it is that you want in the world. So, and an expansion of us within our spiritual journey, within what we're here to do. An expansion might be in your relationships, or it might be an so we have a fundamental expansion of things. So the first thing I think we need to really consider is around balance and boundaries. So if we were to let that expansive new energy run free, there is a potential that, with all the possibilities, there is a potential it would just get bigger and more expansive and run away with it. There is a possibility that it kind of burns its way out. There's a possibility with the expansive nature of our thinking and ideas and what's going on that we could lose focus. Some of it kind of depends upon what it is that we're expanding within our thinking. So some of the stuff last month I was talking about, that we need to be very conscious about what we're thinking and what we're saying in the world, who we're saying it to, and what we're saying that we want. Now, and at the same time, we're seeing lots of experiences where we're really just seeing a clash between the old versions of us and new versions of us, old versions of society, new versions of society. So what we could do is we could expand our thinking that things are all going wrong, or we could expand our thinking of our anger and annoyance that this person did this and this person didn't do this and this is thing. Or we could expand the possibilities of what it is that we love and what it is that we want. But what we need to do is, and we're going to look at that way that we need to kind of think, but what we need to be really aware of is things will expand, and we need to put some boundaries in place. If you are doing something that is quite expansive, in I've started this and I'm going to do this and I've got this idea and I could do this and then I could do this, the very nature of wood and fire together, it just gets bigger. So you have to say, okay, what would be the balance I would require in my life? What would be the rhythm and routine I would require in my life in order to do this thing that I'm thinking of doing, the expansive nature? Or do I need to, if I'm going to do more of this, do I need to balance that out with something else? The very nature is that the world is quite imbalanced at the moment. So we need to find ways to become more balanced ourselves, to be more grounded, more stable, more settled, more peaceful. And if we let that whole world of possibilities and imagination run away with us, that might be quite difficult to do. So I don't want to put a damper on your ideas and your hopes and your dreams and the possibilities you can do that, but just make sure you contain them in something that is sustainable, and you put perhaps some kind of some boundaries in place. Um, some of the boundaries might be that people are enthusiastic and invite you here, and could you do this, and could you do this, would you like to do that? And it might be your boundaries, you say, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Or it could be that you decide to do it, but doing it needs to be a very, very conscious choice. Um, if you are having difficulties with other people, and we're going to talk about communities and communication later, but if you're having difficulties with people, be very careful that you again keep going on about it. You just don't keep expanding and thinking, well, then I said this and they said this and etc. etc. Just be really aware things will grow and you need to be very conscious about what it is you want to grow, and it needs to be very conscious about how you want that to be. We have just so many possibilities at the moment to kind of keep it narrow, keep some balance, keep some boundaries in place, just like you would with a roaring fire, and you'll be fine. You'll have a fantastic time. Um, the second theme, and in essence, this is a lot of what we do in the 5 Day Mindset Makeover, is part of this vital life in all the big programs, is you really need to be conscious and step into being, I don't know whether this is the right word for it, but that kind of divine commander in chief. You need to be very conscious about how you talk to yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you manage yourself. Um, it's kind of looking at how do you choose to lead yourself in the world. So you've heard me talk about many times that we have, some dubious world leaders at the moment, putting it very, very politely. Um, And so it gets to be doubly important about how do you lead yourself. And if you're leading yourself in a way that you would like the world leaders to be, then you're contributing to that energy. And the very least is you're going to have a good internal culture that is kind and considerate and empowering and uplifting and et cetera, et cetera. And it's very important to have that self-mastery, dealing with yourself, being kind to yourself, because one of the things that we could have expanding is our sense of doubt about ourselves and our sense of doubt about our abilities. Um, and the reason some of that is being illuminated by the fire energy or being shown up is because this is the time we're really meant to deal with it. So just be aware that if doubts creep in and I haven't done this and I didn't do this and oh, I've got this dream and this hope and this expansion, and then it comes and a little voice says, yeah, but you won't be able to do that, will you? That you need to be very in that divine sovereign, divine commander in chief, say, well, actually, I think I can, and using conscious questions and self-talk that will really help with it. Um, the other thing I think within that it gets to be a bit more exaggerated is that because it's a fire energy month, fire energy, the big question is, am I loved? Am I appreciated? Am I okay, people? So even if you haven't got a lot of fire energy, because the fire energy is around, you might have doubt because you're worried about what other people will think or worried about what you'll think about yourself or and again, all of those kind of are ways to, in an unhelpful way, collapse your possibilities, that self-doubt, etc. Um, and one of the things that we're really meant to be doing, and we talked about this, the part of you, those of you are part of heroic actions or confidence flow and finding you and inspired revolution is kind of looking at that nature of um, that your spirit at the moment will fundamentally want to be heroic. That is something that is that nature of fire and wood energy. It gets to be, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and so there's a heroic nature at the moment. Um, but we need to be very careful that our heroic nature doesn't turn into sacrifice because we don't have good boundaries and balance in place, or the heroic nature we feel we want to do it, but our self-doubts stop us from doing it. So there's a real tussle between our inner and outer game. This, you need to be doing this, and then there's voices coming in, that sensitivity. And it's And you have everything you need to manage that, but you do need to be your kind of divine commander in chief. One of the things that you may also experience is that the expansion, I could do this, I could do that. You might think to yourself, well, I'm not ready yet. I don't know enough, or perhaps I'm not up to it, or just thinking I'm kind of not ready. And I just want to remind you a saying that I find really helpful is that God doesn't call the qualified, God qualifies the called. And you are not here to do the stuff that you want to do because you have everything in place. It's because you're being called to do the things you want to do. So be wary of that doubt that you don't think you're up to it. Um, uh, and you are and have been kind of qualified. And again, you've got things like conscious questions, etc., etc. Within that divine commander in chief, there's also, and I think we'll see this in the outside world, there is also a funny combination. Again, you can kind of think about the 1960s. There's a funny combination between we're all connected, we're all one, community, let's all have a big loving and let's be all together, and let's be also independent and no one can tell me what to do. And that might have that within you as well, of getting that duality between independence and connectedness, etc. So just be aware that that might be a slight internal tussle. And then the final theme is to really kind of appreciate where you are within this journey. So we have had years of building up to this time, and lots and lots of energy has, with this wood energy, has been around. It's going to be new. It's going to be new. We're going to have this revolution. We're going to have this change. We're going to have the thing, and there is almost a waiting energy for it. Whereas in reality, you're already there and you're already being and you're already becoming and you're already partway there. It's like almost waiting for the thing that will allow you to be the person you want to be or do. Actually, it's already started, it's already there. And but there is a waiting energy that might make you think that you're not there, but you're actually already on that journey. Um, and you might be doing some identity shifting and you're in an old identity and you're due to be in a new identity. You might be doing some of that. Again, you've got mindset makeover. We've got stuff here to help with that. Um, and we know that your new identity will be creating your new reality, but it's really important to appreciate how far and how much you've done. And one of the things I was talking about in the cheeky check-in is to go back to, I think, roundabout the tail end of 2020, because that's when we saw some very interesting shifts. And just think, how different am I from the end of 2020? How different is my thinking? How different is my appreciation of people? How different is my how much I have changed? Because it's very easy to think that I'm still waiting for something to arrive, or have that metal energy coming in and saying something is missing, etc. And again, I think that can collapse it down. Um, uh, you have had lots of experiences that have led to your greatness, and just reminding you inherently have greatness that you can recognize through your vitality test profile and the energies you've got. And again, you have everything there. So this month, I think, is a really interesting month to become confused about. Yeah. So just be aware it will expand. You could let it get too big. You do need to put some boundaries and some balance in place, and that will serve you well. Um, you've got to look at those thoughts and that thinking, and then you've got to kind of appreciate where you are on your journey, and that as you've come an awful long way. And within appreciating where you are on your journey, I'll repeat what I said in May for the May energy waves. Don't be alarmed at what you're seeing. You're just seeing the old and the new having a little bit of a battle. That's not your reality. Um, And I think that's the main, those are the main ones. We can pull out different things as we discuss it, but those are the kind of main themes. Okay. So I'll stop recording here and then we'll have a